We want to dive deeper into Meta's major retreat away from fact-checking. Meta, which operates Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, announced yesterday that it is ending its third-party fact-checking. That's where fact-checking was done by independent organizations in a program that was launched after widespread concerns about misinformation on Facebook ahead of the 2016 election. Meta will now have users try to police each other with community notes, similar to what X does, which Meta described in this way in a release. The community decides, quote, when posts are potentially misleading and need more context, and people across a diverse range of perspectives decide what sort of context is helpful for other users to see. So, in other words, if you see something, say something. The change is being criticized as political and an attempt to cozy up to the Trump administration. Zuckerberg did meet with Trump at Mar-a-Lago after the election, and Meta donated to Trump's inauguration campaign. So a lot has changed since Zuckerberg banned Trump from Facebook after January 6th. Zuckerberg took to his platform to explain his decision. Here's part of what he said.
We built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically,
so he says there's a cultural shift with Americans, quote, prioritizing speech, unquote, but at what expense? Do Americans want a social media company that many rely on for information to be okay with possibly more unlabeled misinformation?
So let's get into that discussion and the potential consequences of Meta's decision. We're joined now by Nick Thompson. He's the CEO of The Atlantic and the former editor-in-chief of Wired. Good to see you.
Morning, how are you?
All right, so we previously saw this with X. They moved to community notes after owner Elon Musk took over the company. How does that work? And more importantly, what have we seen since X moved to the community notes model?
Community notes has actually been fairly effective, right? You see lots of posts where there are community members who have labeled them, who've added important context. Funnily, a lot of that comes from the fact checkers who are employed by the organizations that are now in trouble because of Facebook's decision. But regardless, community notes is a cool program. The problem, and the reason why people are being critical of what Zuckerberg has just done, is community notes is slow. It has a lot of problems. You need people to sign up. The post needs to go viral. You need to have a diversity of opinions of people commenting on it. It is a good supplementary program, but this is going to mean a huge change at Facebook because right now, they have all these algorithms and all these people making all these changes. A lot of that is getting shut down to be replaced by kind of a vague program that they're going to start in the next year. So Facebook, Instagram, Threads are definitely going to change.
So by the time the community catches up or comes to a consensus about trying to, clarify a post, it may have already spread like wildfire and had an impact, right?
May have spread like wildfire.
So Zuckerberg himself said, and I quote, that this may mean that they're going to catch less bad stuff.
Yeah.
So he's admitting that things are going to fall through the cracks, right? But, don't they have a responsibility to truth and accuracy, or maybe they don't?
Well, they don't. They're a private company. They can do whatever they want. And there is a trade-off between keeping your platform accurate, fair, friendly, safe, and allowing anything to go up on the platform. And there are like a bunch of levers. What is so interesting to me is they have spent the last 8 years building these incredible AI systems to get better and better at being more accurate, and so there are fewer errors. And now they are saying all this stuff that we said was so amazing and so good, we're not going to use that anymore. They're just essentially choosing a new position on the spectrum.
Doesn't it make them vulnerable to misinformation and, what we saw in 2016 with
Well, totally. That is
Russian
exactly
influence?
what happened. So in the spring of 2016, they made a similar decision internally. They said, we don't want to upset the Republican Party, and so we are not going to look at all of this stuff happening on the platform. That led to the crisis in 2016, which then led to the fact-checking program. They are doing the same thing again.
Right, but that was a business decision in 2016. This is a business decision.
Absolutely.
You said it right in your earlier comment. This is a private company. If they think that they can make more money letting unfiltered information, including some misinformation, on the site, if it makes good business sense, they're going to do it.
Yes, and I think the more important business question is what is really at stake for them is how they are regulated by the Trump administration. The FCC sent a letter in the fall saying, hey, or the incoming chair of the FCC saying, hey, those fact checkers, we may regulate more closely or we may change some of your protections if you keep them. There is a huge Trump decision on TikTok, one of Facebook's biggest competitors. If Trump sides against TikTok, that's worth billions and billions of dollars. So if they can get on Trump's good side, that means a lot to them.
And it didn't even seem like Zuckerberg was trying to shield the fact that they're trying to get on Trump's good side.
No.
He name-checked Trump in that video and talked about how he needs the U.S. government. You know, only with the U.S. government's help can they, kind of achieve their goals. What do you make of that? Because he talks about kind of the Biden administration in a more veiled way of having promoted more censorship, but the Trump administration is going to help promote free speech.
I mean, I watched that video and I thought, you know what? There's an audience of one for this video. He's just trying to get Trump on his side. And it's probably partly his own personal ideology, it's the business interests, and it's what a lot of companies are looking at right now.
That's a salient point. Nick Thompson, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Glad to be here. Thanks so much.